folks. This morning soap is from Wet the Face. This one here is Yulay Peppermint Patty. And that's what it looks like on the inside there. And it's smells just like a peppermint patty. This one here may be kind of hard to come by because he doesn't carry it anymore. But it also is 6 ounces of soap. And I just use I got a baby spoon, one like this one here. It's what I use to scrape out the soap with. And I've got it whipped up here in this plastic Vie-Long bowl. The inside there, if you hadn't seen one of these before, it's like a honeycomb type texture to it on the inside. Got it whipped up here with a horsehair brush. Nice handle. I like this one. This model's pretty nice. Got it all whipped up and ready to go here. Shaver of the day. This one here is figuring out what model this one is was a little tough. This I do believe is the I think it's an E2. It still has the flaps on the side, and this here I do believe is a bakelite handle because the way I understand it, the plastic ones would have a seam running down through the center. This one doesn't have a seam, and the reason why I think it's an E2 is that the marks down through here on the guard is they're at random as opposed to being uniform across there, the grooves. And I think it's an E3 is where they started out with more uniform grooves going across the guard there. And so I'm thinking this is an E2. Could be an E1, but I'm thinking it's an E2 somewhere in there. At any rate, got an alum block complete with a rubber band. Still using the Humphreys Witch Hazel Lilac Scented, and I'm going to follow up with the aftershave from Vie-Long. This is Peppermint Bark. It's going to be a nice cool shave this morning. Already put a hot towel to the face, and we'll go ahead and get started with the cube here. And this is that is how big it is. It's a good size chunk of pre-shave soap. So this cube's going to last a good long while. The Schick Injector has a blade from Supply, and I am not sure who makes the blades for Supply. I'm left with the impression that it might be Persona. It does look like the same dispenser that Persona has, but I'm not for sure where Supply gets their blades made at. And if you're not familiar, Supply, I guess you might say, has a modern day injector that they make. And I have one of those. I have the polished edition, and the plates that come along with it, where you have mild, classic, and I think it's called a regressive. Anyhow, 3 plates, and it is really a nice shaver. Will say though that shaver is not a lightweight shaver. So if you're not too keen of having a heavyweight injector, that one would not be one for you. But I've gotten great shaves with all 3 plates. Just a really nice shaver. This one here, in my opinion, is pretty nice. I enjoy the shaves with this. Take your pick whether it's an E or a G. I really like shaving with them. I don't know how the earlier version shave. The ones that look really cool, the early versions. Like to have one just to have one. Like I say, I don't know how they shave, but they sure do look cool. If you're not familiar with the earlier versions, I guess you might say they're made to travel. The head would swivel around and you put the cap right on it, it's all contained. That's just I think that's a really cool design. Those will cost you a little bit. They're not as cheap as these. These, just depending on the condition that you find these in, you can find them anywhere from 10 to, I've seen them go as high as $50, depending if they come with a case and the condition of the razor and all that neat stuff. But usually you can find a decent one, excuse me, right around the $15–25 range, somewhere in there. If you watch the time of year, sometimes it seems like the time of year, some prices on the shavers will drop. I think it's more because of people trying to unload their goods around the holidays. I guess you might say need some holiday cash, huh? The mint in this is really nice. Was thinking about following up with some Osage rub, but I also like this peppermint bark Yulay has. Definitely makes your face feel great at the end, nice and cool. I was pretty lucky to find this shaver. It came with its own case. Not in the best shape in the world. It's not one of the plastic ones. Down below, I have a link for a website that has some information about the injectors to help you with the dating and all that sort of thing. Got some photos along with it to help you figure out about what year your shaver was made. This one here will date from 1935 to 45. May be kind of hard to see on the camera, but on the underside there's patent numbers that'll help you figure out about when your shaver was made. There's little tidbits of information about how long these things were made. This particular style, more or less, I guess you might say, it lasted for a good 20 years, the way I see it read. I guess you might say from 35 to 55, or 56, one of the two. That's a pretty good run, with just, I guess you might say, minor adjustments along the way. There is a F version. I think I missed my opportunity to get one at a reasonable price a few years back. You don't see them very often, and generally when you do see them, they're a pretty penny. But it's that shaver there is another one that really, to me, looks really nice, unique. Later on this week, I'll be shaving with probably tomorrow, I will shave with a PAA adjustable injector, and then of course the polished version of the supply injector. That way you'll be able to see, if you missed the other video, the supply injector. It's a good looking shaver. The polished version just looks awesome. Kind of like the black version too. It's kind of hard though. That shaver doesn't come cheap, so it will be a good moment before I get one of those. If I do. But the one thing you'd have to consider if you're looking at these injectors, blade choice is seriously limited. But for me, once you get the shaver, the one that's going to fit your style of shaving, whether it's mild or aggressive, the blades are pretty consistent. I don't notice that much of a difference in between a Persona blade and a Schick blade, as opposed to maybe the price, the value is where the biggest difference is at. And that's where Persona comes out ahead. Depending on your beard type, on how many shaves you might get per blade. I don't push them when I first started, as I would for any blade that I'm really interested in how many shaves I can get out of it. I'll try to stretch them, see how many shaves I can get with them. But anymore, I guess you might say a number of these blades, I've figured out which ones that work well for me, and I definitely strive just to get a good shave. The blades aren't that expensive, so I don't do like I usually do. Try to stretch them too far. It's kind of like the Feather Artist Club Supers. If I really work at it and be very careful during my shave, I can stretch those blades out to 10 shaves. But I've dialed it back to about half that much, to about 5 shaves is about all the further I go on a Feather Artist Club. And that's 5 smooth, comfortable shaves. The 5th one, in my opinion, is very noticeable at that point. I get 5 shaves out of these blades here, and that's about all the further I push it anyway. Pretty good blades. Supply, Persona, either way you go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this E model is a bit more aggressive than the G. If you're looking for a smoother one, I'm pretty sure it's the G that's a smoother shaver. And there's plenty of them out there. I can't remember how many different G models there are. There's several different ones. I guess you might say, in other words, if you're looking for a handle that looks like that, or there's a variety of handles in that series that you can choose from. They're all kind of similar. All be about the same length. But I got a few of them. They're fun to shave with, in my opinion. Got some witch hazel here. Like I said, they're not too terribly expensive. And if you've seen some of the postings, I've seen some from North Shore that'll do some custom work for you on your injector. I've seen some that looked really nice. Just beautiful injectors. If you're a fan, I am. That's what it would be really hard when you talk about narrow it down to only 5 shavers. Oh, it'd be really tough. I'd have a hard time with it. I'm shaking it up here. Because there's more than one injector that I like. And PAA Injectomatic, I've done a few videos with it. Those are, when you can find them, generally they're in good shape. I don't mind spending a little bit extra money on those because most of them that you do find are in darn good shape, and I enjoy the shaves with them. The easy peasy shave. The cooling effect is really setting in. That peppermint bark is really nice. Summer months, if you like a cooling shave, you might want to check that out. That's once again, that's peppermint bark. She has soap to go right along with it too. Oh, my face is still cooling right now. Awesome. Because this bathroom, if you missed the episode, for whatever reason, it did not put a vent in here at all. So there's no heat coming in here, and there's no air conditioning coming in here. So, and of course, it's hot. This was a great shave. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.